Welcome to the OTech Talks podcast, where it's all about working on Oracle technologies. You will hear the latest Oracle tech information, and your host, Kashif Manzoor, brings together product overviews, how-tos, best practices, tips and tricks, and troubleshooting techniques.
Welcome to OpenTechTalks.tv, and today we have a guest speaker with us, Chris Barkhurst. He's the CEO of BBC Inc. And we want to learn a lot of things about AI innovation and then generating over 25 million annually. So a lot of money talks. But before that, I think we will learn from Chris how he has started it and what he's doing it. So maybe, Chris, if you can introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, sure. So I'm Chris Barkhurst. I'm the CEO of BBCE. BBCE, we started back in 2015. We were just a small management consulting company. Started with me and just helping people optimize their strategies, their data strategies, making stuff more efficient through analytics and optimization. Moderately, we grew to 2 employees, then 4. Exponentially, we started growing to a big team. And through this team, we developed some AI tools. And these AI tools became what we now know as Barkhurst AI. And we released that into a business offering in late 2021 and 2022, and that has taken off. That's a rocket ship, and that's been going strong ever since. And then most recently, back in May or June of 2023, we just got on board with Benson Lloyd Card Grading Company, and they have revolutionized the way card grading has been going. So it has put the sports card grading. It's turned it on its heels. It's taken a lot of market share away. So. A lot of talk about that right now. So we're very proud of our 2 companies right now.
Okay, so maybe get into more detail. Barkhurst AI, what it was doing. It was targeting to certain market specific, or what problem it was solving.
Well, one of the things that we saw when we were optimizing business practices was that people would always be asking, who is responsible for this? Where do I go to for this? Where do I get permissions for this? It's really hard to onboard somebody new, because you would get on a large project with a large corporation and it would take forever to onboard somebody, So what we did was we actually developed an early version of Barkhurst using OpenAI's version of GPT-2, and we would basically custom write the code using their. You can actually train it with your own code, and we would do that, and we would have like a chat bot basically that people would chat. It was a centralized hub, so you would bring on a new contractor, for example. And you would say, "Here's your chatbot. We call it Barkhurst here. And if you have any questions, ask the chatbot first." And it would have all your code. It would have all your code base. Everything was installed on it. And it was great at the very beginning, because we brought in contractors and onboarded them within days. So when you had somebody coming on board and they wanted a code base for C+ or C# or Python, they could type in what libraries do I need to install for XYZ application. and we'd type it in, and it would pop up the template of what they needed to install, and be right then and there. Who would I go to see about this? And you would type that in. You'd have a back and forth conversation with the chatbot. It was incredible. And then our clients loved it because they could update it relatively quickly. So it was tremendous. Then of course in 2022, we all saw the rise of ChatGPT.
Right.
And it was quite funny because when ChatGPT came out in November, people were just raving about how it was performed as a chatbot. But our clients were like, what's so big about it? We've been doing this for years, because we've been doing this for 2.5 years plus. So there was really nothing big about it, except for what people were doing with the variables, with like, make it sound like a pirate. We had no idea it had that capability. But when we tried it on Barky, it had that ability. So we're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. That's a new benefit or new added feature we didn't know about. So we didn't know it had that tone or that customization ability. We just thought of it as an XY chatbot. We didn't know about the Z component, as we call it.
Right.
So we knew that, this program that we had, people, bigger and better competitors were going to get involved. And they had more money, more capital. They had better developers than us. And they were going to take over our market share. So we had to think of something bigger and better. How do we push Barky AI to the next level?
Right.
And the thing that I hated the most was waiting on hold for the help desk to, change my credentials, change my password. And I said, it would be great if I could have AI just sit on hold for me. And when they answer the phone, just verify everything for me. Hi, my name is Chris Barkhurst, blah, 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 blah. I need my password changed, or something to that effect. And I sat down with my developers and I said, okay, with what we know now about what Barky can and cannot do, with what ChatGPT can and cannot do, can we develop a tool that does this? My developers and we went back and forth a little bit, playing around with some stuff. And we said, absolutely, we can do this. So we took Barky and we put it on a phone network. Very first people ever do this. And we developed an internal network that allowed you to make a phone call, receive a phone call, and when you talk to somebody, when you call, you talk to AI, but within a millisecond, within just a few milliseconds, the AI would respond back to you with a voice that's not an AI generated voice, but it's an actual human speech with pitch, pace, and tone. So it sounds just like a human. So it is AI generated speech, but it's not like that robotic monotone voice.
Right.
So it's very convincing. So you have to try it for yourself to actually understand what you're talking about. And that's something I can mention later in the show, which is very exciting for us to announce later on. But it's we did it, and we were tricking people left and right. We were pranking each other left and right with my voice, because you can train my voice. And I would call somebody up, and people would believe it's me, but it wasn't me doing it. It was just a prompt to me. So we developed Barky AI as a way to help people with entry-level call centers. And we had a call center partner we tried it with. We answered 750,000 phone calls within probably about a 10-day span. And I think we only had a dozen people say, this is an AI. But other than that, everybody else passed. And we didn't tell quality about this at all. We just let quality grade them as if they hired a brand new team. Quality didn't know. Quality passed
Okay.
them all. We sent them through their automated quality grade tester. All of it passed with 95 or higher. It was fantastic. Nobody could tell if it was a human being or not. So we were just amazed by what happened.
Wonderful work. Then now what happened to that? Is it product now?
It's a product now. It's being used by probably about a dozen call centers right now.
Okay.
It takes over 1 million calls a day.
1 million calls a day.
1 million calls a day.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's the idea which started while Bark AI initially was dropping and taking market, and then you thought of that one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we thought about that because we knew that we couldn't beat everybody by being a chatbot. So we knew that we had to develop technology to get ahead of that curve. And that next curve was, well, if everybody's going to be stuck with text, because all we see is people doing text back and forth with chat.
Right.
You know, how do we push that boundary? So we said the next boundary is eliminating or optimizing the telephone experience. And then with telephones comes chat, comes text messaging. Of course, we can do that as well, but it's really optimizing that entry level agent. Because you know, I've worked in a call center for over 25 years before I became a data professional.
Okay.
And 90% of all phone calls can be answered by an entry level person. It's just basically, what's my balance? I need to pay a bill, etc., so forth. So by eliminating that or optimizing that entry level person, we can push those really complex billing questions or really complex insurance questions to a human, which requires that touch and that feel, which businesses and organizations really want to have. For example, we have a banking client that we optimized their banking solution. So when you call up, they got rid of their entire IVR. So when you call up, you usually have to say, my routing number is this, my account number is this. We did away with all that. We threw it all away. So first ring, you answer, thanks for calling so-and-so bank. My name is Chris. How can I help you? The caller says, well, I need my whatever. No problem. I just need to know this information. You verify. It gives you that information right away. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, I'm good. That was all done by AI.
Man, amazing.
Now, if you say something like, now I'll need something with my mortgage. Hey, no problem. I can get you with my mortgage company, my mortgage specialist. 1 moment. We pass it to your mortgage specialist. The mortgage specialist will take a look at that and give you that detail, that level of detail that they need. And with that person can then offer premium incentives, which brings the bank more money. Because what the bank does not need is that mortgage specialist giving out balance details to somebody. What the bank needs is that person, making money for them, not costing them money, which AI, it costs them, 7 cents a call. Whereas if it's answered by an actual human being, it costs like $25 a call. It's something ridiculous like that.
Wonderful work. So what tech you're using? So if it's not proprietary, any general information on that? How the technology your foot solution look like?
What? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
I mean, how is the technology-wise your solution look like? What are you using? You're using the same now, the Chat GPT, generative. What large language model you're using?
We have our own proprietary language model that we use.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what we do is whenever we go to a client, we ask them, give us all your information that you ever have.
Okay.
And then we can incorporate that into our large language model as well. So all the policies, all the terms and whatever they use, and we incorporate all that into it as well. So we look and sound just like a banker or a technician or somebody who's signing somebody up for a vacation trip, whatever the case may be. So we sound just like them, because we don't want to sound like anybody, off the street. We want to sound just like somebody who's knowledgeable. That way it comes off as personable, we're friendly, we're professional, and we're not just some robotic, monotone person. We're not. On the other hand, on the other side, where we also have a proprietary partner which does our text to speech, our speech engine, which takes we have an infinite amount of voices we can use. We can mimic any voice we want. And so whenever you call back up, you can call 1,000 times a day. You'll never get the same voice twice. And it's not this monotone robotic voice. It is a voice that sounds like a human. Your voice is different than my voice. Right. My wife's voice is different than your friend's voice. True. It sounds just like a human. And they're not just like the my voice isn't that nice, but the people that you speak to on the phone are professional voice sounding people. They sound like they talk like this for a job. So it's very nice.
Okay. And is it like configured with the customer existing ecosystem, or do you provide a service or SaaS, or how?
Yeah. It's the way we price it out is based off the complexity. So it's not like a. It's part of it is a drag and drop. We have lots of stuff as much as we can on API. But based off our business model, we have to go into the customer and figure out what triggers what. So, for example, with that banking client, when we talk to them and they say, a client says, "I want to know my balance for my checking account." We need to make sure that triggers in the background to check their checking balance for which account, and not give their savings balance for this other account. And they may have multiple checking accounts as well. So we need to make sure that our AI is smart enough to understand that you have to ask for which checking account do you want the amount from. So it's very much a technical process of what policies do you want us to follow? So it's not one. It's very much a partnership between us and the client. But we try to do as much drag and drop as possible to help mitigate that expense.
Very good. And how is it? I mean, from business point of view, how is it going?
Oh, it's going great. I mean, year to date, we're well over 25 million in sales. We're projecting probably a little over 40 million maybe by the end of the year. We're very selective of who we do business with, because I was speaking at an event the other day in which I was demonstrating Barkey and why Barkey is both a great thing for businesses and a terrible thing for businesses, because when we vet our clients, we make sure that when we give them a Barkey license, they're not going to go and use it for nefarious things, because with its ability, you can actually use it and do some harmful things, which they're not good. And we demonstrated that in a controlled environment. Like I was saying earlier, I could prank people using my own voice.
True.
And if you can imagine what people can do with other things of that nature, you can see the extreme magnitude of what Barkey could do if bad actors got a hold of it.
True. True. And how big your team you have?
My team, well, we have probably about 50 to 75 people on the team
Okay.
altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact number because
That's fine.
whenever, whenever I give the really great thing about Barkey is that I gave complete autonomy to my my leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no many places I've worked with when there's like a new if we need to hire like a new developer or we need to hire a new AI engineer, they don't need to run up the flagpole to get my my okay. They just say, "Hey, I know a guy who knows a guy, or I'm gonna bring this. I found this person. He was doing some cool stuff on LinkedIn, or they found somebody who does cool stuff on TikTok, and they just bring him in." And seriously, that's how we've found some of these people. Is we've been watching them do stuff on like TikTok and stuff, and we've just messaged them like, "Hey, do you want to work for us?" And they're like, "I'm unemployed." Sure, So that's how we've been doing stuff. We don't do a lot of not personal ads. Excuse me. We don't do a lot of one ads. It's been a lot of people who reached out to us directly and said, "I've heard you guys are doing some really cool things," because I did a podcast probably about 6-7 weeks ago, and it got 100,000 plus clicks, and a lot of people reached out to me and said, "I want to be part of your company," and I just threw them through. I was overwhelmed by the by everybody who sent me their resumes and stuff, and we talked to as many people as we could, and brought in as many people as we could, because I believe everybody deserves a chance.
Cool.
And we're still sorting through that, and we're still receiving more and more fan mail. So so we're just overwhelmed by that. And the great thing about Barkey is that even though we're a tech company, even though we're a startup company, which tends to be very aggressive, dog eat dog, we're very laid back. We enjoy 32-hour work weeks. So you work, 7-hour days, Monday through Thursday. Then you have half the day off on Friday. There's so many other benefits. We can go on for a long time talking about the benefits. I think we have 32 days off a year that are paid time off that we consider holidays. Then you have a 4-week mandatory time off period, which you have to take at least 4 weeks off a year. But we also give unlimited vacation time. So if you need more than 4 weeks, you can take it off too. So it's, I think it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Before even talking about so many things, your story inspired me. The way you took it, that the idea was that, okay, I was having X Mark AI, and we were seeing the ChatGPT is coming. We can't compete, and you were having a background of call centers, so you connected those dots, and then you spoke to developer. Let's develop it, do a POC prototype, and then here is a solution. So that is more resonating to everyone, and then definitely the other things part of the story. Wonderful work. I'm amazed, and even I'm started thinking about how to introduce you to my lot of customers.
Yeah.
That's a good solution, because while we are working with a number of use cases where we are doing a sentiment analysis on the call center calls. Right, and then over there we have a voice, and we are converting into text, and then doing a sentiment analysis on top of it. That, okay, how the customer is saying words, statements, and then find out some analysis out of it. And that's one of the common use cases which I'm seeing it. But where the way you showed and you presented it, it can counter a lot of productivity. You don't need those call centers. Normal calls you just can manage by an AI. Amazing solution.
Yeah, and Barkey is smart enough to understand sentiment as well. So if you get an irate caller, which you know, 20% of our calls are marked as irate. Barky immediately shifts into, defense mode and de-escalates those callers to make them no longer irate, and does a really great job of doing that. And then works to solve those problems. And we programmed it in that way, intentionally, to de-escalate the customer first, and then work through that problem. And then to add to your comment there, we can put these calls through the call centers. They already bought these great tools for sentiment analysis and whatnot for tracking and analysis purposes. Barkey integrates with those services as well, so they can track, trend, and measure those calls as well, and see how everything's going along. So Barkey just does an incredible job of pre-existing software.
Great, good stuff. Thank you so much for joining. And you gave me how you came from an idea of prototyping, and then you even gave a secret of hiring a people resources, from a LinkedIn or a TikTok, what they are doing, cool stuff. Amazing work, Chris. I think I'm really inspired from you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Oh, no, that's common thing. You want from someone, how he has started his business, how he has brainstormed on it, and then took it into market. So maybe concluding remarks, what are the common challenges you're facing it?
The common challenges we're facing right now are just trying to stay ahead of the competition, trying to stay ahead of what's next, because AI is ever changing, and there's people out there who they're fighting against AI. They see that AI is as a bad thing, as a way of de-evolving human society, and as well as you've seen AI making tremendous advancements on a daily basis, and then you have us, we're trying to make strides into AI to keep ahead of the competition, because if you make one misstep, you're going to be behind the competition by a huge gap. So we're trying to stay ahead of it as much as we possibly can by integrating new features, integrating new products and stuff of that nature. So that's what we're trying to do. That's our greatest challenge. And then we're not just trying to we're trying to also expand as well. So that's what we're announcing pretty much this over the next few weeks, is that right now Barkey AI is just business related. Okay. And what we're trying to do now is we're trying to make it so it's public related as well, so consumers can use it. I personally use Barkey AI as my voicemail, as my virtual assistant. So when people call me, my phone doesn't immediately ring. It goes to my Barkey AI assistant, who answers it in my voice. It's like, "Hey, this is Chris's virtual assistant. How can I help you today?" And based on what the caller says and does, it will either make a meeting in my calendar, it will reschedule a meeting in my calendar, it will send me a text message, it will send me a voicemail, or it may just, give the person a hard time if they're, a sales guy, or if they're a scam caller, depends on who it might be.
True.
And then there's some people like my wife, my sons, that if they call me, it goes directly to me. It bypasses the AI person altogether. So what we're hoping to be is that that new public AI virtual assistant for everybody. And I can see everybody having that. I have it for my father, and he's getting a lot of scam calls recently. So I put this on his phone, and the amount of scam calls he gets has died down to nothing, because all the scammers getting this AI virtual AI assistant, and they can't get themselves out of it. They just give up and hang up. But whenever like friends or family call him, they go right through.
True.
So it's an incredible tool.
Thank you. So good use case. Very
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much for joining the call. If someone wants to reach out to your organization or to you, I mean, where they should be approaching.
I'm sorry?
If someone wants to approach you, to reach out to you, where they should be reaching out.
Oh, they can always they can download our consumer app by going to downloadbarkey.com, or they can reach out to me directly at ceo@barkeyai.com.
All right. Great, Chris. Thank you so much for joining the show. Really appreciate for sharing your knowledge and the use case with the Open Tech Talks community.
Well, I appreciate you letting me come on. Thank you.
At otechtalks.tv, it's a turf to share ideas, insights, and innovations.